Have you ever heard this argument? Islam can't be violent because I know a lot of Muslims and none of them are violent, so Islam must not have included violence. Well, this confuses cause and effect. Islam creates Muslims. Muslims don't create Islam. What a Muslim can do is not to practice part of Islam, but that doesn't mean that Islam can be changed by any particular Muslim. So the study of Muslims to learn about Islam I call muzułmanology, and you can't really learn anything because you'd have to talk to all 1.5 billion Muslims before you could say, all right, I know what the practice of Islam is. But the practice of Islam doesn't say anything about what the real Islam is. Nothing changes the doctrine. The doctrine includes jihad, and nothing can change that. Just because you know some Muslims who aren't violent doesn't mean that the doctrine of jihad is not there. Now let's be clear about the doctrine of jihad. There are 4 kinds of jihad. Most people, when they think of jihad, just think of what I call jihad of the sword, violence. Well, there are 3 other forms of jihad, and those are jihad of money, speech, and writing. I sat in a mosque in Southern California and watched nearly $20,000 be raised in less than 20 minutes for the purpose of lawfare. That is, using the legal system to harass people such as myself. A lawsuit is launched, there's a lot of money spent on attorneys, but the case never goes to trial. This is lawfare. It is a form of jihad. The Quran is quite clear on this, that those who donate money to jihad derive just as much benefit in Allah's eyes as does those who actually destroy. There's the other form of jihad is speech. When someone tells you, oh, and they're a Muslim, well, Islam is the religion of peace, that is an act of jihad because it is deceptive. It doesn't include the whole truth. Then we have the jihad of the pen, in which maybe it's just a letter to the editor. So jihad can be practiced 4 different ways. Now let's ask ourselves the question, what is the purpose of jihad? The purpose of jihad is to bring about the Sharia. So in America, according to a Pew Research poll, over half, 51% of the Muslims polled in America said they want the Sharia. So this even wanting of the Sharia steps into the arena of jihad. So all of the subtle pressures, let me give you an example of an act of jihad. A Muslim at work complains that people are heating up pork barbecue in the kitchen microwave. Well, you see, the smell of the pork offends the Muslim. And so he goes to Human Resources and says, you know, the smell of pork in the microwave is offending me and I want it to stop. And Human Resources issues a directive that says, okay, henceforth, you can't microwave pork in the company microwave. The complaint about the pork sausage is an act of jihad. So before you say that a Muslim is not practicing jihad, maybe you need to practice and do some study of Islam so that you know what jihad is and what it is not. But there are many forms of jihad, and just because the Muslims you know don't have an AK-47 or a body bomb does not mean that they're not involved in some fashion of trying to bring around the Sharia through many subtle pressures, and those are all acts of jihad. Remember, Muslims don't create Islam. Islam creates Muslims. Thank you.